Can you cry in Australia?
I'll give it my all if you just get me on a plane to Sydney.
And then I've been called diva, but I thought that was an insult. But
No,
apparently it's not
diva's a
an insult
compliment.
anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
When Jake and I were on the raft, which by the way was hours, but looks like 5 minutes. Initially very beautiful on a little floating.
I didn't have that
pontoon in the middle of this glorious lake.
I am a mother, but I'm also very delighted to be mother.
Hi, I'm Charlotte and this is Frankie.
And we're playing Spy in the Castle with Digital Spy.
Walking in. Well, obviously for me it was so different because I knew Frankie was going to see in a matter of moments that I was a traitor, whereas I guess Frankie still had that moment of not knowing. It was quite strange. It was very beautiful, there was kind of
it looked fabulous. It was very romantic.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. On any other occasion, it would be divine just to sit there and have a bottle of bubbles with your gal pal. But it was quite intense, and I didn't really know what to do. I sort of didn't really know how to arrange my face for your reactions, Yeah. Instead, I think I just went like.
I was really nervous, but I think you can see that, and I was genuinely shaking, which I didn't realise it would be picked up so much. But yeah, it'd been a long day, and it'd been very intense, and I literally hadn't, I didn't know whether I'd made the right decision or not calling you in.
I also wonder if I had been a faithful, you probably, because it's so intense, you might have actually been teary anyway, with relief rather than anything else.
I most likely probably would have cried whatever the outcome. But by that point, but yes, it was a really intense, and it was weird because it's sort of like, it's not a great situation, and yet you're also in this really beautiful setup. So it was kind of like, it was a sort of dichotomy.
And I think obviously that's kind of deliberate and it's clever.
But you could drink the bubbles, where I was literally like
so it was really difficult, and I think from that moment on I was just like in my brain thinking, I don't know where we go from here, from a game perspective.
But you had a twinkle in your eye. You had the traitor's twinkle, and I was like, I
like that.
This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. She's on a mission.
God.
I to be honest, I didn't have much of a plan throughout the whole game, but that breakfast day was my only strategy, and I just thought, I'm going to see what Charlotte says first before I say anything about the night before. I did do the very unsubtle eyes when I walked in, because I thought,
I obviously didn't actually see.
No, that's why that was deliberate, because I didn't want to walk in and go, by the way, Frank, she's a traitor, right? See? And so I thought, I'm just going to walk in, and I don't even really remember whispering traitor into Jake's ear. And it wasn't specific that it was him. I think he was the only one I could actually get round to, because Leanne was chatting with Alexander, and I thought, I'm just going to say it to somebody. So that wasn't a strategy, but I was almost like, I just had to spit it out. And then I thought, right, I'm just going to see what Charlotte says, what sort of lie she's going to spin, and what Charlotte's web.
I really enjoyed that.
And then what she's going to do, and then I'm going to have to sort of counteract that. But and that was what. And then so I was like, Charlotte, would you like a cup of tea? I think that was the traitorous thing I did. It was like, Charlotte, would you like a cup of tea? And then I can't function without my tea, so I thought, I need a cup of tea before I deal with the rest of this. This morning. But
I think neither of us really knew how it was going to play out. That is what I mean by it being so hard.
And we had to walk into breakfast together.
And we knew, exactly. We entered together, the final two. We knew that the other three were just kind of like
their faces
waiting,
were literally, they were like, what on earth is going on? And then Leanne's like, well, is anybody going to address the elephant in the room? I was like, over to you, Charlotte. Let's see what you're going to say.
Horrible. It was really hard. I mean, that was literally just like having to act.
Did you eat anything at that breakfast?
Oh God, I mean, I don't know, probably not. Of all the breakfasts, because I enjoyed the fruit quite a lot at the other breakfast, but I think of that one, probably not.
I can't remember. Yeah. I didn't realise it before watching the show back. I have a whole medley of faces, which I didn't remember. So it wasn't like, oh, I'll pick out that face. It's just an instinctive expression. But I think it's, I think when the kids do something, I'm like, what? so I think it was it's probably a Frankieism, yes. Just in a different scenario.
Oh my gosh, so nice. Well, we I had forgotten actually, but Frankie reminded me earlier. So when I got back to my hotel, because I hadn't seen Frankie or Leanne or Jake or Alexander, because obviously I'd been banished, I'd left. But I wrote a note and, basically saying to Frankie, like, I'm so sorry this has all happened and ended the way it ended. But, this is my mobile number and blah, 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 and would love to, speak and get in touch. And then Frankie texted me, like, the next day, or as soon as we got our phones back, because obviously we didn't have our phones on us. And then, we just had like a really great, honestly, it was so wonderful for me because I felt this real weight of guilt on me. And I just needed to apologise, but also hear that Frankie was like, okay, in the classic, it's just a game. But I needed to hear those words, obviously, from the player that we'd come up against each other so much in the end. And I was on...
You've thrown under the bus.
Yeah. And it was just that, it was great. And then we actually didn't see each other until the screening. We had a screening for episode 1.
We just had a big
before
hug.
Christmas, and it was just great.
Really
and it was
nice.
so normal, and it's the same. I mean, I think obviously we've got to the end, and so this is the big thing at the moment, and it was a huge culmination of events for the final. But everyone throughout the game has had those moments with people, and I think it just shows that it's all totally
It's
fine.
just not, the intensity of the castle and things happening there are very heightened, and then when you get back into real life, you have that sort of reflection. You step away, and you're aware it's a game in the castle, but everyone becomes so close because you have no contact with the outside world. You don't have your normal support network, and then you come out and you're like, and then it's this, and then you go back straight into reality. And for me, nobody knew I'd done it other than a couple of people. So it was that
if they've known you've done it, you don't tell them what's happened on it. So no one can understand except the people that you've done it with.
So you you self therapy, and you kind of and so you go, well, that's just a game, and that's totally fine. And then I just was really looking forward to seeing you, because then we have that experience together, which I haven't. And when we saw, we still couldn't tell anybody because it was before the show came out. So it was that bond of going, God, we did that.
I mean, most of the cast obviously didn't know, unless you were in that final 5 of us, who were there the day of the Seer meeting. No one else even knew that this twist really was coming.
Yeah, they didn't know about the Seer or anything.
So,
It's a bit like you feel like you're having some sort of clandestine relationship.
Like
all the cast, like the cast WhatsApp and everything, and the Studio Lambert thing. I had to delete all my emails because my sons go on my iPad all the time. So I would and I had archived all my WhatsApp groups because they're always playing games, and I was like, so I'd like check on my phone, a message come through, and I go, just a minute, and then, or an email, I'd be like, just let me check my emails before you go on my iPad. And it was like, so for like 8 months I was having this double life of like my Traitors life, and then just being mum of 4 kids, and like going and constantly feeling guilty that I had this massive secret. And I didn't tell you, but my youngest son, about 3 months after coming out of the castle, I was putting him to bed, and he went, "You'd never lie to me, would you?"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God!"
So just come out of the blue.
Yeah, and I thought, what have I done today? And maybe it's about frantically taking devices off them. I don't know, but I was just like,
how funny.
Yeah, so he had a sixth sense that something was up, but I had no idea. And I was like, "No, of course not, darling."
He can be signed up for season 20. Or something
there's like a moral dilemma of now telling my children never to lie, and I've told them massive lie.
Exactly. But you played a very true game as a faithful. So
yes, I said that was the only lie I ever told in the whole process of the Traitors. Is where I was.
Yeah, exactly.
I think seeing the conversations that people have about you, and when I say behind your back, I don't mean that in a nasty way, but just in the rooms that you're not in. And you obviously only know your narrative of the story in the castle, so you know what conversations you've had, and you know what your thought process is and what you've done in the missions or whatever, but you don't necessarily, especially when we're in different teams, you don't know what the other teams are doing in the missions.
It's quite interesting.
So I really enjoyed the Doll's House one.
Yeah, seeing what we were doing in the castle.
We had this, like, what's it called, a gramophone and all this, and I was thinking, what?
No, ditto. We couldn't really imagine
we never
the
saw
house
it.
thing that you were in. No, I had that because I watched each episode again. It was sort of funny because obviously I knew that I was lucky enough to be in each episode, so I'd kind of arranged with different pockets of friends to watch different episodes with them. But the first episode we'd had a screening off, so I was kind of ready for episode 1. I was like, it's fine, I'm cool, the shock of seeing yourself on TV, like, okay, I've got over that. But then because they put 2 up on iPlayer the same day, I hadn't seen episode 2, and in that episode I'm like coming under fire at the round table, and Keith had been murdered to frame me. All of this was news to me, and I was sat there with this group of friends like, unbelievable behaviour. So it is, but it's fun, and it's amazing because someone said to me, actually, they said It's a real difference. You've got the experience of being on the show and your experience there and filming it and meeting each other and doing everything. And that's one thing. But then you've also got the edited show. And that's kind of another thing. And you've got to enjoy that as a separate entity because they are two different things.
I watched it as a member, other than the first episode we'd already seen. And
Yeah.
especially sitting with my children and my family. I watched it as a viewer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the
But you
boys
just
would
happened to
ask
be
me
in it.
questions and I'd be like, well, I don't know because I wasn't there in that room, you know. And so it was really refreshing.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's very different from if you're in a drama and you know it's scripted, you know what the storyline is, you know what's going to happen. And it was just really interesting to see everybody else's journey because in a way you're slightly self-absorbed when you're in there because you're totally trying to just stay alive or not be banished or, you know, not have, you know, the sea or whatever.
And seeing how different names get brought up, like it is just really interesting. Like when people have kind of come up to me in the street and said how much they love the show, I'm always like, I love it too. Like I literally love the show.
Yeah.
And then just weirdly this year, I'm just in the show.
Yeah.
But like I love the show as a viewer, you know.
Yeah, I think the only thing I got right watching it and I knew the conversation was happening about was being irrelevant. that was like, oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
That was
comes
so
to mind.
tough. Mina and I had to stay behind in the turret.
I know, and I said to Leanne,
answers.
we're going to see. When the show comes out, we're going to see the conversation about you being two-faced and me being irrelevant. And Leanne's like, oh my God.
I know. But it was so funny because you've obviously got to remember we're trying to do it in a way that
I'm
doesn't...
not offended.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But it was just like the two-faced thing I think was actually inspired because Leanne is so the least two-faced person ever. She's so direct and so just will address things on the note, which I kept saying to her in the castle as well. I was like, I think it's quite funny.
Yeah, no.
But it was
Well,
fun
I
because
thought it
caused
was funny because
drama.
I kept on saying, it's me that's the irrelevant one. And you guys, no, it's not you, Frankie.
I know.
Don't listen to
When you said
Frankie.
that irony was so funny. I don't have any regrets, honestly. Like I've thought about it because I'm really into kind of, you know, I love playing games and I obviously love thinking about it, and also because we lived it. It's like, God, how could I have done better? How could I have got myself to the fire pit or something? But I also think I can't be responsible for however many other people's mindsets and actions. So if I had maybe done one thing differently, I don't necessarily know if that would have triggered a train of reaction, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I have no regrets. Like it was fantastic.
I regret wearing the really long denim skirt on the chessboard
fair
with the
enough.
barber because I did look like sort of a late royal.
Yes.
hiking through Scotland on a chessboard.
Was there a
hiking
silk
boots.
scarf?
No, I know. It was. I think the barber sort of hood kind of looked like.
Yeah, I mean, probably I do regret wearing the dungarees quite so many times. I literally look like a children's TV presenter. But I
It
didn't pack
was
enough.
80s. Like,
Didn't pack enough clothes.
I
Like,
know.
there's Frankie here that packs an extra suitcase and pays like all the money. I literally packed like 5 jumpers, a pair of jeans, and a pair of dungarees. I thought I'd be out day 2.
Yeah,
And it was like I had nothing to wear.
I still feel very bad about banishing Alex.
I didn't vote for him. I can't.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
You
I
did
wasn't-
others though.
but you know, I can't take my conscience on that one.
Yeah, I do feel. And Alexander, I got that one wrong.
Oh,
at
but
the
I
end.
mean,
but,
you know
you know,
what?
but no regret in the gameplay.
No.
And I think that's the thing is when you're there. You I mean fundamentally you just make mistakes, what I did constantly, because and then it's sort of how you learn from mistakes. And actually Alex going was a real turning point for me because I realized that I was voting for people who were basically not being very good faithfuls, and actually I then realized that actually everyone I'd voted for was that they were like faithfuls, but the traitors are much better at being faithfuls. Because they're trying to be faithfuls, where the faithfuls were just sometimes a bit rubbish at it, because we're all trying to, we don't know, we don't have the knowledge, we're guessing. And so I suddenly, when he went, I was upset and everything, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this completely wrong. And that's when
need to just, like,
that's when I got
recalibrate.
Mina. I was like, she's too good.
Yeah.
A
At being
faithful.
faithful, yeah.
She's too
Yeah.
good at it. And then I sort of started thinking backwards that way.
Would we return? I mean,
I would
honestly,
100%
never say
return.
never. Yeah, I would do it.
I had the best time.
Yeah.
I think I'd be a rubbish traitor,
But no one
I
would
would
trust
give
me
it a
this
go.
time round. I think I'd just get murdered straight away. You know, that's the thing. I wonder how it would play out because people, let's say you did an all-stars version and you had
It'd
like...
be bold to make
like-
you a traitor again, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But then I think what's interesting about this game is, you can't base any one game on previous games. Like every game is its own game. So let's say I happen to be a traitor again, or even recruited again, or something like that. You can't be like, oh, Charlotte was recruited last year, so it won't be her. You know, it's like, no, every game is individual. So yeah, I would 100% do it. Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I like alliteration, so Faithful Frankie worked really well for me. I don't know if it would, but
There's nothing that works for Charlotte.
no. But yeah, I think I would do it again.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't think I would lie to my family again. I'm not sure they would
It's
forgive me
just
for
an
that.
honestly incredible opportunity to have been able to play the game, because it is such an experience.
And also, I think what you see in the episodes, but you don't appreciate so much, is how beautiful it is there.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is when we did the boat mission in the
Oh my
lock.
God, stunning.
I showed it. It's literally, you feel like you're on the edge of the earth in that lock. It's so beautiful.
When Jake and I were on the raft, which by the way was hours, but looks like 5 minutes. Initially very beautiful on a little floating.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have that.
pontoon in the middle of this glorious lake, but then
Oh, I was
the
just having the
sunset.
best time steering the boat down. I couldn't, because it was so windy, I couldn't hear all the arguing of everybody rowing. So I'm
was
just going
so
down
funny.
the lock like, oh, this is blissful. They've got to bring it in there.
That
That's
mission
fun.
triggered a lot of stuff.
But that's what it's devised to do.
Yeah,
They're very
yeah.
clever, the missions.
They
Yeah.
are. Oh, my other accent.
Oh, please.
I'm quite good at Australian.
Go on.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm a faithful. I absolutely love playing the Traitors. Sign me up for season 4 Australia. I'll be there in a heartbeat.
That was good.
I know. I'm not bad at
As good
it.
as the Welsh.
I'm not bad at it.
Can you cry in Australia?
I'll give it my all if you just get me on a plane to Sydney.
I have teenage sons who have introduced me to TikTok over the past few weeks, and I was looking at it and I was like, well, obviously I'm a mother. I've got 4 children. I was like, why is everyone saying mother? I didn't understand what it meant. I also didn't understand what stan meant.
I don't understand what mother means, apart from being a mother.
It means you're kind of cool, I
Oh,
think.
great.
You are a woman with impeccable style and composure.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then I've
Take
been
it.
called diva, but I thought that was an insult. But
No,
apparently it's not
diva's a
an insult
compliment.
anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. So I am a mother, but I'm also very delighted to be mother.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Digital Spy.